Spencer Rattler is a story of a bunch of ups and downs, adversity, and hopefully a fairy tale ending. At 14 years old, he started for his varsity team in Phoenix, Arizona. In 4 years, he threw for 11,083 yards and 116 passing touchdowns with 1,040 yards rushing and 14 rushing touchdowns. Rattler actually broke the Arizona high school passing record on his 18th birthday. By the end of his sophomore season, there were a ton of teams, several teams, that were interested in bringing in Spencer Rattler to play football for them, 14 to be exact. In 2017, Rattler had an unofficial visit to Oklahoma, which he committed to them a week later. A year later, in 2018, he signed a letter of intent to play for Lincoln Riley and the Oklahoma Sooners. After his junior season, he was invited to the Elite 11 competition and played alongside players such as Jaden Daniels, Sam Howell, and Bo Nix. He absolutely dominated there, winning the Elite 11 MVP. During his final year in high school, Rattler starred in a Netflix sports documentary called QB1 Beyond the Lights. This would be the first negative mark on Rattler's career, coming across as cocky and a jerk to his teammates. Rattler only played 7 games and was suspended for violating a district code of conduct, which made him ineligible to play for the rest of the season due to cheating. Coming out of high school, Spencer Rattler was the #1 rated quarterback in his class. During his first season at Oklahoma, Rattler was a backup to Alabama transfer Jalen Hurts and only appeared in 3 games for the 2019 season, so then he was able to redshirt in his freshman year in college. Rattler won the job in his redshirt freshman year, but ended up blowing out Missouri State 48-0. In starts number 2 and 3, Rattler had consecutive losses to Kansas State and Ohio State, throwing 2 interceptions in that last game with Ohio State. It was a Game 4 against a heated rivalry, Texas, where Rattler really placed himself on the map, getting a win in a 4 overtime game, 53-45. Rattler ended winning out the rest of the season, leading his team to being the winners of the Big 12 championship and a win against the Florida Gators in the Cotton Bowl. It was in his redshirt sophomore season where we really started seeing the struggles of Spencer Rattler. They were winning football games, but they wasn't winning the way they wanted to win these games. During the 4th game of the season against West Virginia, they won that game 16-13, and the fans, they actually began to chant they wanted freshman quarterback Caleb Williams in the game to replace Rattler because he wasn't playing the way that the fans wanted him to play. With those chants in place, I think it's safe to say that this was kind of the beginning of the end of Spencer Rattler and the Oklahoma Sooners. 2 games later against the Texas Longhorns, Rattler struggled heavily and was replaced by Caleb Williams in the second quarter, who came in and led the Sooners to a comeback victory 55-48. From that point forward, Caleb Williams would be the starting quarterback for the Oklahoma Sooners. In December of 2021, Rattler announced that he would be transferring to the University of South Carolina to play for head coach Shane Beamer. Rattler was a bit underwhelming, really throwing for 3,012 yards and 18 touchdowns accompanied by 12 interceptions. The end of the season, though, was a bright light for Rattler. He ended up with 2 massive upsets against number 5 Tennessee and number 8 Clemson. Rattler became the first South Carolina quarterback to ever win back-to-back games against top 10 teams. Rattler would announce that he would come back for another season, in which some people would describe as one of the best quarterback seasons in school history and being among the country's best signal callers. Rattler then declared for the 2024 NFL Draft. Rattler ended up playing in the Senior Bowl, where he was also named MVP of the 2024 Senior Bowl game. Rattler was drafted in the 5th round with the 150th overall pick by the New Orleans Saints. Rattler started the season as the QB3 behind Derek Carr and Jake Haener. After Carr suffered an oblique injury in Week 5 against the Chiefs, Rattler was named the starter over Haener for their Week 6 matchup against the Bucs. And this is where we are now. Overall, throughout this game, I would say that it's pretty positive on Spencer Rattler and what he was able to do and accomplish in this game. It started out very hot for the Saints and ended up in a bloodbath. But there are a few plays that I want to kind of break down and show you guys what happened with the Saints and Spencer Rattler in his very first NFL game. The first play of the game for Rattler was a display of how Rattler can go through his progressions, going to his 3rd read and hitting tight end Juwan Johnson for a nice gain of 27 yards. On 3rd and 3 in the first quarter, Rattler had Bub Means on a 6-yard out route and overthrew him for a first down. This should be a routine type of throw for an NFL quarterback. Rattler had a nice scramble on 3rd and 3 with 1 minute 21 seconds left in the first quarter. This is why Rattler started ahead of Jake Haener. Rattler has an ability of extending the plays, and that is exactly what they wanted. With the shaky offensive line with the New Orleans Saints, I think head coach Dennis Allen wanted someone who can really extend those plays, get out of the pocket, and make a play. On 3rd and 5 in the second quarter, Rattler lasered a 14-yard strike to Bub Means. And in the fourth quarter, on 1st and 10 with a minute 55 remaining, Rattler attempted a quick screen route behind the line of scrimmage and overthrew the intended wide receiver so bad you could hear the crowd in awe. At this point of the game, you can kind of sit back and just look at the second half and understand that Spencer Rattler was kind of rattled in the second half of this game, no pun intended. Now, going into the press conference and the post game, I think he just didn't make it about him. Always he was saying that it was about the collective team, right? He made a point that the Bucs made a defensive changes in the second half, more man defense, and had a wider ends, which made some of their play calling of the bootlegs even more difficult. This is kind of a quick, brief overview of Spencer Rattler, how he started in high school, moved through college, and now into the NFL. Only time will tell if Spencer Rattler is going to be a steal in the NFL draft for the New Orleans Saints. Did they get themselves a darling? Because right now, Derek Carr is going to be out for a few weeks. This is Rattler's time to come through and show he is the next and future quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. Did they draft a dud, or did they draft a fairy tale ending for Spencer Rattler?